I am the Deputy Fire Chief of Tofino. I've been on the fire department there for 9 years now. And so I've been dealing with quite a bit of emergency response stuff in regards to that. You know, those 8 years, it's pretty much been emergency response site level. So now that I'm doing some emergency preparedness work for the district, I've kind of stepped back a little bit more, and I'm doing more site, site support as opposed to site response. So. First of all, I just want to say thanks to the Chamber. I didn't realize that there was Tofino and Ucluelet here, so a lot of the stuff on this next couple slides, there's one that says with the District of Tofino and not District of Ucluelet, but I'll clear that up as we go along. Thank you very much. So, as I was saying, I'm the Emergency Preparedness Coordinator, which falls under the Protective Services of Tofino, and the last incident that we had, as we're all aware of in Japan, kind of opened my eyes a little bit to the fact that it seemed like the responses and the connection between people afterwards was, I got a lot of feedback from quite a few people that it seemed that nobody felt that they were really notified or really had an understanding of what went on during the emergency or during the tsunami. And so what I've been trying to do is just basically, on top of bringing out tsunami awareness in general and emergency preparedness, of course, I've just been trying to improve communication strategies between the community and myself and the District of Tofino in general. So some of the public information websites that I've got on here, they're very relevant, and they serve a very good purpose to basically anybody who wants to get more informed and involved with tsunami preparedness. The first one, Provincial Emergency Program of BC, PEP in short, is a great website to go on to. If you're aware that something's going on in regards to earthquake or tsunami and you're concerned about how it may affect BC in general or in specific, our local area, this is a great website right here. The Provincial Emergency Program, they always have up-to-date bulletins on that website. The second one, West Coast and Alaska Tsunami Warning Center. The Provincial Emergency Program of BC actually takes their information from the West Coast, the WCATWC, from them. They get their information from the West Coast and Alaska Tsunami Warning Center. So again, another great website. It'll tell you all the information, whatever public the Provincial Emergency Program is telling us on their website, which is what we're directed by, will be on the West Coast Alaska Tsunami Warning Center as well. So that website's very informational as well. Another one, Government of Canada Weather Office. They do lots of all hazards, weather warnings and stuff like that. So another great resource, if you're concerned about anything like that, if you hear that there's a tsunami or, stuff like that, any major weather hazards. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, that's the one that's based in Hawaii. It does have relevance to the tsunamis that we encounter here, but it's the one that basically tells, it's a kind of a preempt to the warning systems that we have in place in BC for PEP and the West Coast Alaska Tsunami Warning Center. And of course, down at the bottom, the District of Tofino. What my whole goal, like I was saying, to improve the communication strategy of the District of Tofino is that whenever an emergency is happening, I'd like to have someone in charge of these communication strategies and make sure that there's effective communications on all these websites, and especially this is our responsibility right here, the District of Tofino. So if you do know that something is happening and there's pending imminent tsunami, or if there's a large earthquake in the Pacific Rim, you can always go onto the District of Tofino website, and I'm going to make sure that there is a bulletin there on the front page for everybody to find out what's going on, as well as just in general for tsunami preparedness and emergency preparedness. On the District of Tofino website, there is a section under emergency preparedness that you can go to for stuff like earthquake kits, grab-and-go kits, simple emergency supplies that you should have on hand, vehicle-wise, at home, at your office, stuff like that, just to keep in mind the things that you may need in an emergency that you may not be cognizant of. The public notification systems. Now, see, these are some of the things that I'm talking about. Local media, CHMZ 90.1. I can't recall which one it is in Ucluelet. And 99.5. If I would have known the Ucluelet Chamber was going to be here, I would have that on that slide. The Westerly News, it's not always something that's happening right now and current. Another thing that we would use the Westerly for are things like the Emergency Preparedness Week we just went through. We did some fire department evacuation notification stuff during that time. We also put together some emergency social services in Tofino. We gathered the emergency social services one night too. Stuff like that. In regards to something like the Japan incident that just happened, radiological concerns, stuff like that, things that kind of drag on after the incident. We've kind of become complacent, we've forgot about it, but there are still concerns, and that's another nice local media resource that we can start using for that. As well, we've talked about, I've heard Twitter 3 or 4 times already, new and upcoming for us, but I mean, a lot of people have been doing the Twitter and Facebook thing for a long time. That's another thing that I'm looking into as well, and at the end of the presentation, I'll have my Twitter call sign on here as well, so you can follow me with that. Again, call center messaging. I'm looking into getting call center messaging. So when people are in distress, or if they're trying to figure out what's going on in a time of emergency, especially tsunami preparedness, they can call the district office, and I'm going to have if no one is at the office at the time, there will be a standard message there relaying information that's going to give you a little more information on what's going on at the time. Website bulletins, again, District of Tofino, the West Coast and Alaska Tsunami Warning Center, and the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. They're great websites to take a look at. Public announcements or strategies. Like I had said, we are getting currently we have 2 tsunami alert sirens purchased. They're at the Public Works Yard right now. Our projected date for installation for those will be in August due to the shorebird migration, I believe it is. So we won't be able to install those until the fall, but they are here and they are purchased, and they're pretty much ready to go, as I understand. So that'll be something kind of interesting and new for us to work around. As well, like I had mentioned, fire department patrol zones. Right now we're kind of working out the bugs in terms of getting everybody notified, especially in the major zones that we're concerned with, the low-lying areas, in terms of tsunami inundation. Like I had said too, with the Emergency Preparedness Week, we had the fire department go around and try and notify as many people as possible about the evacuation exercise, and I seem to get fairly good response from it. There were a few things that we needed to address, and we're working on that as well. So weather radios, I know some of you probably do have them. You can look on the Environment Canada website, and they're real small, real cheap, and they're an all hazards radio that you can do for home or office notification, and those will alert you of kind of like all hazard weather situations, especially tsunami and stuff like that. And they're very nice to have, just because you can kind of tweak them to however you want to have your radio respond to. They don't have to respond to, say, gale force winds. They can, you can tweak them to just tsunamis or certain types of weather hazards, however you want. So I know that a fair amount of people do use the weather radios, and they are fairly effective. In terms of email notification, again, we have a listserv in the District of Tofino that we shoot out when there's an emergency happening. Something that maybe we could think about too is using the Chamber of Commerce as well for email notifications. I just wanted to go through some basic terminology so that maybe everybody in the room can get an idea of what the understanding of these types of tsunamis are and the types of tsunami alerts, and then you guys can get back to your the rest of your meeting. So types of tsunamis. Pacific-wide tsunami. So that one originates in a location other than coastal North America. BC arrival times between 6 to 18 hours. That is a good case of, or a good example of what we just went through with Japan. I don't want to get into too specific of it, but they had projected us to have about 7 hours response time before any type of wave or anything came from Japan in that incident that we just had. So that was a Pacific-wide tsunami. Regional tsunamis are a little closer, obviously. Originates off coastal North America, excluding the Cascadia subduction zone, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Alaska, including the Aleutian Islands, is the principal source area for regional tsunamis affecting BC. The time to reach northern BC coast can be less than 1 hour or as many as 5 hours. And I put 1964 there because I'm sure a lot of you recall the 1964 tsunami that caused quite a bit of destruction, specifically in Port Alberni. Millions and millions of dollars of destruction in BC alone. And that one was a 9.1 or a 9.2 earthquake just off the coast of Alaska. That one we're working with a little less time. 1 hour is not much time at all. It's fairly scary, actually. And just another side note too, the West Coast and Alaska Tsunami Warning Center was established due to that 1964 earthquake. So now they have high-end technology base out of Palmer, Alaska for determining these things now. They felt the need that they needed to get a little closer than Hawaii for these things to find out what was really going on. So local tsunami, that's going to be the real